Have you ever wondered why cars with manual transmissions have gone from being almost the standard choice to becoming something increasingly rare on the streets? Decades ago, learning to drive meant using the clutch pedal and gear stick. Coordinating feet and hands was a driver's pride. Now, most people choose automatic transmission. And the sound of the engine revving up before releasing the clutch had a unique flavor. However, today, most people opt for an automatic transmission. Whether it's a traditional torque converter, a dual-clutch gearbox, a continuously variable transmission, CVT, or, in the case of electric cars, even a single gear system without the need for any manual shifting. To understand why manual transmissions have lost popularity, it's essential to take a step back in time and grasp their historical relevance. During the early decades of the 20th century, most cars used manual gearboxes, mainly because automatic transmissions were still a distant dream. Simple clutch and gear technology was more affordable and reliable. And on top of that, skilled labor for repairing and maintaining these gearboxes was plentiful. In the 1940s and 1950s, the first automatic transmissions started to appear, especially in the United States, with the famous Hydromatic from General Motors. These early automatic transmissions were considered luxurious, and while they simplified the task of shifting gears, they were more expensive to manufacture and maintain. For a long time, manual transmissions remained the norm, especially in Europe, where car culture prioritized fuel efficiency and direct driver control. Automatic transmissions were refined and gained popularity in North America. The increase in urban traffic and the demand for greater comfort boosted its popularity. In North America, where distances were longer and highways were the norm, comfort and ease of driving were strong arguments in favor of automatic transmissions. On the other hand, in Europe and other markets, manual gearboxes held their ground due to the culture of active driving and higher gas prices. The arrival of electronics in the 1980s and 1990s marked a turning point. Automatic transmissions became smarter, capable of detecting the user's driving style and adapting the shifting patterns. This narrowed the gap in performance, efficiency, and comfort compared to manuals. Plus, the rise of Japanese and European vehicles with more reliable and durable automatic transmissions. The global perception started to change. With the beginning of the 21st century, automatic transmissions continued their evolution. Dual-clutch gearboxes, DSG, DST, and CVT offered ultra-fast shifts and improved efficiency. This meant that supporters of manual transmissions could no longer argue that shifting manually was the only way to achieve better fuel consumption. Turbocharged engines and hybrids advanced, helping electronics in automatic transmissions optimize the drivetrain. Better than humans. Engines surpass humans. So, the manual transmission, once the undisputed queen, started to lose ground. Its main advantages, simplicity and low cost, were overshadowed by increasingly affordable, efficient and comfortable automatic transmissions. The technological transition was not sudden, but rather gradual, driven by an audience that valued ease of use and an increasingly globalized market that rewarded versatility and comfort. Comfort is one of the key factors that explain the decline of the manual transmission. Nowadays, urban life is defined by traffic congestion. The streets are full of traffic lights, with constant ups and downs and unexpected stops. Shifting gears is tedious. The driver is stuck in a routine that hinders the journey. It becomes tedious. The driver, instead of enjoying driving, finds himself trapped in a mechanical routine that hinders the fluidity of the journey. The automatic transmission eliminates much of this effort. With an automatic car, the driver is freed from the need to constantly keep an eye on shifting gears. Focus on area signs and road conditions for less stressful driving. Important for new generations learning to drive in congested environments. This factor is especially important for the new generations, who often learn to drive in congested environments. For them, manual shifting is not a skill, but rather an obstacle that makes the learning process more expensive. Manual transmission gives direct control for precise gear shifts. Ideal for open roads, driving becomes art. Optimize the engine's response and feel a more intimate connection with the machine. This is true in ideal scenarios like open, winding roads with little traffic, where driving can become an art and a pleasure. However, most people spend the majority of their driving time in less than ideal environments, where the priority isn't to enjoy manual shifting, but to reach destinations without any hiccups. On the other hand, the driving experience with a good modern automatic transmission is far from bland. Dual-clutch transmissions, for example, can shift gears in milliseconds, providing almost instant response. Meanwhile, CVTs keep the engine in its optimal RPM range. This allows for smooth acceleration, reduced fuel consumption, and a seamless driving experience. Some automatic transmissions even offer simulated manual modes, allowing the driver to select gears using paddles on the steering wheel, providing a sense of control without sacrificing comfort. For many years, the manual transmission was considered the most fuel-efficient option, since an experienced driver could optimize gear shifts to keep the engine in its efficiency range. However, technology doesn't stop, and automatic transmissions have improved to the point of matching and even surpassing the efficiency of manuals. In many situations, modern automatic transmissions come with advanced electronic systems that can read multiple parameters: vehicle speed, throttle position, engine load, road conditions, and even the user's driving patterns. With this information, the onboard computer selects the ideal gear to maximize efficiency. In addition, dual-clutch transmissions and CVTs minimize energy losses that were common in older automatics. This technological leap goes hand in hand with environmental regulations and government pressure to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. In many countries, vehicle manufacturers are required to comply with increasingly strict CO emission standards. To reach these goals, brands have invested in optimizing every element of the powertrain, including the transmission. An advanced automatic transmission can, in conjunction with the engine, keep the RPMs at the exact point to reduce consumption, something that an average driver with a manual transmission can hardly achieve consistently. The human factor is crucial. While an expert driver can squeeze the maximum efficiency out of a manual transmission, most drivers don't have that level of skill or dedication. They often shift up a gear too early or too late. They keep the engine out of the ideal range or do not know when is the optimal time to downshift to take advantage of the vehicle's inertia. A well-calibrated automatic transmission eliminates this margin of human error, standardizing performance and ensuring relatively high efficiency for everyone. The improvement in efficiency not only reduces the carbon footprint but also lowers operating costs for the user, as less fuel consumption translates to lower expenses over time. In an economic context where fuel prices can be volatile, choosing a transmission that helps optimize consumption becomes a rational decision. In this way, the manual transmission loses one of its last strongholds: the superiority in efficiency. While it was once argued that manual transmissions were more fuel efficient, now that argument has faded in light of smart automatic transmissions. This shift, driven by environmental pressure and market needs, has significantly contributed to the decline in popularity of manual cars. So they can no longer present themselves as the most efficient or cost-effective option in the long run. In its early decades, the car was seen as much more than just a means of transportation. It was a symbol of status, freedom, and mechanical skill. Learning to drive a manual car was almost a rite of passage, and being able to feel the engine, master the clutch, and shift gears smoothly was a skill that was admired. Families passed down that knowledge from generation to generation, and the car culture was fueled by this romanticism around mechanics. However, the world has changed. It was fueled by this romanticism around mechanics. However, the world has changed. The new generations grew up surrounded by digital technology, smart devices, and automated solutions for almost every daily task. These young people are not as interested in the internal mechanics of a vehicle as their grandparents or parents were. For them, the car is, above all, a tool for getting around, not an extension of their personality or a piece of engineering worth fully understanding. Car culture, understood as the love of pure driving and mechanics, has been diluted. People no longer spend entire weekends tweaking carburetors, changing spark plugs, or upgrading the intake system. Even repairs and maintenance have become more complicated due to advanced electronics. This makes the car a more opaque and less accessible product for the average enthusiast. In this landscape, the manual transmission doesn't fit with the priorities of many contemporary drivers. If before the direct connection with the vehicle was valued, today the simplicity of use is what matters, the connectivity with the smartphone. Driving assistance and safety. The modern driver prefers a car that fits their needs, that allows them to take a hands-free video call without having to worry about shifting gears, or that offers semi-autonomous driving assistance in traffic jams, reducing the stress of daily driving. In addition, the growing popularity of electric vehicles has also influenced this trend. Electric cars don't have a traditional transmission. They usually have a single gear and deliver their torque instantly. As drivers get used to this new reality, they will switch to a combustion vehicle. They won't feel the need for something as archaic as a gear stick and a clutch pedal. This lack of interest in mechanics and car culture partly explains the loss of popularity of the manual transmission. Without a massive audience that values the pure driving experience, the manual transmission loses its broad commercial niche. Brands focus on automatics, leaving manuals rare, mainly in sports cars for enthusiasts. It's logical for brands to focus on them, leaving manual models as rarities, often reserved for sports cars aimed at enthusiasts who still appreciate that level of interaction. With the current trend, it's hard to imagine that manual transmissions will become mainstream again. However, this doesn't mean their absolute extinction. There are still market niches and scenarios where the manual transmission makes sense and attracts a specific audience. One of these niches is the enthusiasts of sports driving. Many sports cars, especially for purists, still offer manuals. Brands like Porsche keep this option in iconic models, valuing the gear-shifting experience and man-machine connection. For these drivers, the manual isn't outdated. It's a principle. For these drivers, the manual transmission isn't an anachronism, but a statement of principles. Similarly, in emerging markets or regions with less service infrastructure, advanced tech manual transmissions can still hold relevance. In these places, mechanical simplicity and lower maintenance costs are still advantages. A manual vehicle is easier to repair with basic tools. This is appealing in countries where maintenance costs and spare parts are a critical factor. Nostalgia also plays a role. As manual transmissions become rare, they may attract collectors. Manual cars could become collector's items. Just as vinyl culture has resurged in the music world, the manual box may take on a vintage aura. Manual transmission cars could become collector's items, sought after by those who want to experience old-fashioned driving. However, the overall picture points to a steady decline in their presence. The shift towards electric vehicles is becoming more pronounced, and they simply don't require multi-speed transmissions. With autonomous driving, the idea of manually selecting gears will become foreign. In a world where cars drive themselves, manual transmission is a romantic memory. Will manual transmissions disappear? Probably not. There will always be a niche for passion and craftsmanship, but their presence will be limited. There will probably always be a corner for passion, craftsmanship, and a taste for the genuine, but their presence will be limited and symbolic. The bulk of the market is leaning towards automation, efficiency, and connectivity. While it may be sad for some to see this driving technique become a rarity, it's the natural course of technological and cultural evolution in the future. The question won't be why manual transmissions stop being popular, but rather how they manage to last so long in a world that's moving towards complete automation. The answer will be found in those few enthusiasts who value the intimate connection with the mechanics, the feeling of total control and the pleasure of mastering an art that's on the verge of extinction.